how's it going? Welcome to another video in this series on managing pain through yoga. In today's video, we're going to be focusing on tensor fascia latae, or TFL for short. This muscle can be found if you locate that bony bit at the front of your hip and move slightly back. You'll see here, just in that side of the hip area, and it makes its way downwards, connecting through this beautiful web of fascia into the IT band, so this tendinous sort of band that makes its way down into the outer edge of your knee. The actions of this muscle are to help the leg in flexion, to internally rotate the thigh, and to abduct the leg. This muscle can have pain patterns that feel like this kind of image, as well as deep pain into the hip and along the outer edge of the thigh and towards the knee. We're going to work a little bit on releasing this muscle through a little bit of trigger point work using a tennis ball. So go ahead and grab one now if you have one, and we're going to do a little bit of mat work to stretch, giving a little bit of space and movement for this muscle, as well as to reduce pain and increase mobility. So let's get started. Cool. So let's go ahead and get started with our tennis ball, doing a little bit of trigger point release work. So just place your ball onto the ground, come onto the side of your hip that you're going to work on first, and then make your way over, find that bony part of the front of your hip, and then move slightly back of that, and then you can place that ball there. And then come down onto your elbow and see if you can start to locate any trigger points. So whatever you do with the legs isn't super important, just as long as you feel stabilized. So we're going to look to maybe roll slightly from side to side, or back and forth a little bit, up and down, looking for any points of tension. We're never looking for sensation that feels greater than maybe a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. So right now I found a little trigger point there, and I'm going to stay and hold for the count of 3 breaths. So deep breaths in through the nose, down into the belly. As you breathe in, just creating space for the body. And as you breathe out, maybe imagining that pain gently reducing and the tension letting go. Great, so gently roll off the ball, and we're going to come to the other side. So I'll just switch over. You can just turn around. And again, just placing your ball, coming onto the side of your hip, supporting your body with your elbow, and then looking to place that ball into trigger points of tensor fascia latae, TFL. So I found one straight away there, so it might be that one side is tighter than the other. Just have a little kind of look for yourself as to where you find your little trigger points, and then we'll stay and hold. So tension here can be created through running on uneven surfaces, for sitting for extended periods of time. And this can be a really great way to just help release the muscles there, to free up all the muscles around the hip as well, to create better movements for your general day-to-day. That's what it's all about. Okay, so once you've done your nice 3 rounds of breath there, so again, you can just roll off your ball and place it out to the side. And then we're going to come over onto the belly. So just making your way over. Cross your right arm so that the front of the arm, or the side of your arm, is parallel to the front edge of the mat. And then just bringing your left heel in towards your bum. You may be able to reach around behind and grab hold, or you may use maybe a scarf or something to gently bring that heel in a little bit closer. So from there you can pull gently the heel in closer to the bum. You could press the foot a little bit into the hand, or you could even start to lift the front of the knee away from the ground a little bit. So we're getting a little bit of stretch deep into the muscles at the front of the thigh. If you want to add a little bit of a strength element, you could extend forward through your right arm, maybe float your right leg away from the ground, balancing here. Exhale, gently release, swapping over, so just changing hands. So the forearm is parallel to the front of the mat, bringing the opposite leg in. Again, taking hold, bringing that heel in towards your bum. Maybe pressing the foot into the hand, or just bringing the heel in a little bit closer. And then the option is there to maybe lift the knee away from the ground. And if you want to try that little strengthener, reach forward and lengthen back. And then exhale, gently release. Take the hands by the sides of your ribs, press back all the way into your child's pose. Take the forehead to the earth. Take a few deep breaths into the belly. And then gently come forward into your tabletop position. Maybe that you need a little support for under your knees, like a blanket, just to keep the knees nice and safe, or you could flip your mat over to have extra support there. Walk your foot in so that the heel is in line with your back knee, and then come all the way up. Take a moment to stabilize. If you need a wall for support, come a little closer to that wall. And then you're going to feel as though you're pulling that front heel towards you and sort of sending your left knee forward and through. Relax your shoulders, keep the crown of the head lifting. So you feel this co-contraction, there's this push-pull happening. The pelvis feels like it's engaged. You might feel that nice stretch right up into TFL. So right, that whole area here. Exhale, gently release. Step back. And then we'll send the other leg forward. So again, walk the foot in. So you stabilize. Come all the way up. It makes it a little bit trickier to balance because you're in this narrower plane. So that's where a wall could be handy. Relax your shoulders and then start that activation again. Pulling with the front and pushing with the back. See if you can feel that stretch right up into the front of the hip there. Take a few breaths. In and out, soft gaze. And then gently release. Come all the way back down onto the belly. Shifting forward, lowering through. Take an in-breath, lift the chest. Feel as though you're pressing the hips forward and down into the ground. So you feel the whole front of the body slightly stretching. If it feels okay for your lower back, you might straighten the arms a little bit, getting a deeper stretch through the front of the body. Engage your glutes a little bit, like you're sort of gently pressing forward, opening the fronts of the hips, the lower abdomen. Exhale, come down. Slide your right arm around so that's again parallel to the short edge of the front of the mat. Roll onto your right hip. Bend your left knee, reach around, hold. Reach around and catch hold. And then you may be able to bring your left knee back. Taking a little stretch. A couple of breaths here. Gently release. We'll roll over again onto that other side. Coming back through, stabilize. So one hip stacks over the top of the other. Bending the knee, reaching back. And then maybe moving that knee back in space so you feel a little stretch. Gently roll back through onto the belly. Press yourself all the way back so you can come to seated. Bring the legs in front. Take your fingertips behind so you're kind of supporting your body, and then gently roll onto the sides of your legs. So you're making like a 90 degree angle with your legs. Back through center and over to the other side. This time, as you move to the side, See if you can feel a little bit of a press through the sides of the feet. So you're kind of tractioning the ground with the outer and inner blade of your foot. Good, we'll do that on the other side again. Pressing. Good. Back through to center. And then roll all the way back over onto your knees. Tabletop position. Step your right foot forward in between the hands and then turn the right toes to point towards the right hand side. Shift the weight forward so you get a little stretch to the front of the hip, and then we're going to revolve over so that we come onto the outer edge of this left hip. So you can stay here, or you can make it a little bit more active, pressing into the outer blade of that back foot and reach back, or you might just find that you get a nice stretch as you are here. You can make a little fist with your wrist if it feels like too much on the wrist, too much pressure downwards. And we're just looking for that stretch for the side of the body here. And then we'll come back through to center, step it back, step the left foot forward, and the same thing here. Turn the left toes out, maybe make a fist if that feels better for your wrist. And then you're rotating around so you come onto the outer edge of that back thigh. This one can be a little tricky, but as long as you can start to feel a little bit of stretch, you don't need to go too deep or too far. Getting that stretch into the outer hip. Maybe the arm reaches back. Gently come back and through. Step your left foot back. Sink the hips back, come to seated. And we'll finish in a little seated position. Even weight down through the hips, maybe closing the eyes. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Taking a moment to give appreciation, gratitude to your beautiful body, for all the amazing things that it does. And I thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps me out. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below as well. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.